Hi guys, and welcome back to part 22 of the Lunak build. We left the last video, covered the wings, and we built the fillets on the fuselage, and I gave it a whole new lick of filler primer. And today I'm going to start this video by sanding that primer filler bag. I've already made a slight start, but I've got another product from Bucks Composites, and I'll pop the link down below. They sent me, and that is this. Oh, what's that, Cliff? Okay, 400 grit, which is what I'm using, wet and dry on a sponge. Look at that, spongy. And the reason I haven't finished flattening back the fuselage is because I wanted to try this going around the curves of the fuselage. As somebody pointed out in, I think it was part 20, that just sanding by hand, you're just going to follow the contours of the fuselage and that you need a bit of a block. Well, it's not a massive block, but it's a bigger block than my hand and gets a much even pressure. So I'm going to give these a go. Basically, I've done the front part already, and I've got all the back part to do. So here's my water. Put some washing up liquid in it. A bit of soap just helps things to glide better. And let's try it. It feels great going around the curves all at once. It's got to make it more efficient, isn't it? Right, let's have a quick wipe off. The object is, especially on the back half of the fuselage, to sand away as much of the primer as possible and just leave it in the hollows and the weave of the fiberglass. So I've got more to come off there. I can still see brush marks in the primer there, so more to come off there. That's looking quite nice up there. Yeah, basically there and there for the minute, so let's carry on. If you don't use water, your sandpaper will very quickly clog and wear out. Water helps it to stay sharp and cut through the primer a lot more efficiently. Even though it's on a pad, I'm trying to put equal pressure with my hand. This is the first time I've gone to this much effort on a fuselage, or an aeroplane actually, so you know, it's a learning curve, but at the same time it's coming out way better than I thought. Taking advice from club members, how they've done it, and using products such as what I've got from Bucks Composites is working really well. Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to it. I'll tell you what, guys, I'm going to keep going. And I'll come back to you when I've probably done the whole fuselage, and we'll have a look at it. Cheers. Just coming to the end of the fuselage now, guys. I'm on my third pad, but it's a very superior finish than using your hand. I shall use these in future, but the it has highlighted a couple of areas that need stopping just on the fin join. Otherwise, I think it's very successful. Okay, quite pleased with that. So I'm going to go over it now one last time and just put some more stopper in. A little bit there, just spotted, a little bit there, little pinholes really, just need filling. And then I think we'll be good to give it a spray. So I'll come back to you when I've got a sprayed fuselage in front of me, I think. I mean, talking undercoat spray, that is, just white. Okay, see you soon. Okay, I've given the fuselage one coat of grey primer. Overall, I'm quite pleased with it. Feels incredibly smooth, but at the same time, it's got lots of pinpricks of dust probably just in the paint. There's only sprayed it in my hand just out of doors, so there's tiny little pimples. But what I want to do now is to try and sand it without going through the paint, because there's no point in going through the paint at this stage. It does look nice, all one colour, the tail surfaces, and I've still got to glue the cockpit glazing onto the framework, fit the pull rudder, sort out the tow release, and then start thinking about some sort of interior cockpit. So it's still only the middle of March, so we have got I've got probably a month or two before the season really starts. So I'm ahead. I think I'm ahead of my schedule, which is always good. All right, guys, I'll see you back soon. Okay, I've sanded it, so I've got quite a few areas I'm just going to give an initial coat on. We'll let that dry. I am impressed actually with the way this primer comes out. It's incredibly smooth, so, and it's hard. I can sand it quite hard and it doesn't go through. So once I've got this on and then the second coat, I'll give it a very light sanding all over and it'll be ready for paint. Yeah, very impressed with this primer. This is just from my local, I don't know where else you'd buy it, Pro Build, Pro XL Super Build primer. Yeah, very nice, with a choice of spray heads as well, which is lovely. What's this little contraption then? I found this on Thingiverse, I think it was. Can't swear to it now actually. It's a little glider tow release for quite a small glider, but I've scaled it up, as you can see. And in fact, I've changed all the servo sizes and you can't just scale things up. But anyway, I've used it as a basis. And this is the tow release mechanism. So this goes through the nose, and then your tow wire goes up under the pin in the nose, and then when the servo pulls back like that, the pin releases around the pin in the nose and the wire comes off and you're free and running. So it's quite simple how it works. But the clever thing about it is that you don't actually need a hugely powerful servo, although this is quite a strong one, because of the distance and the fulcrum points. Of course, to think about that. So it just pulls it backwards and forwards, and it pulls it out of the pin in the nose. So, and this, I've engineered it so this just slides into the nose from the back. I've got a cone shaped inside, so it will just guide it into the nose, so I don't have any problems trying to find a tiny little hole in the front. It just guides it in, and it basically, it means now that I can, if I have a problem with the servo, I can just slide it out and I can maintain the servo. So nice and easy. So really pleased with that. As you can see, I've undercoated, primered the fuselage, ready for a initial sanding. And once it's sanded, I can start putting some paint on. But I didn't want to put any paint on until I'd got all these little servo bits. I've got to fix up the rudder servo and then we'll be good to go. So that just slides, I don't know if you can see this now or not, just slide it all the way in like that. The wire comes out the tow hook note position in the nose, and this will plug into a receiver back here. And then the dashboard, let's just drop that in a minute. I've been painting it, so it's got green tape on it. That goes in there, fits around there. Next job then, I've got to think about, seriously now, think about, the time has come, there's no dodging it now. Let's just bend you up slightly, because I'm concerned you might not be on the screen. I've been dodging it slightly, and that is I have to fix up the rudder servo. I can't start doing this when it's been painted, so The rudder servo, elevator servo goes in there on the side, as you remember. But the rudder servo sits down in the middle on a closed loop. I was thinking overnight I might print up a 3D servo holder to sit down actually in there against the undercarriage block, and then I can just glue that in and drop the servo in nice and easy, because trying to put servo rails across, and this servo rail can't fit this side because the elevator servo is here. So I think the easiest solution is if I just design a little box that this can sit in. I can just glue the box straight in. And I was thinking about having a separate arm, but it's so fiddly getting in there. I think I'm just going to run the cable straight from the servo control arms, which I've fitted an extension on there, look, with a couple of little screws. Yep, that's what I'm going to do next now. I've got to take some measurements and turn the computer on and draw something up, and we'll see how we get on. See you soon. I've got a croaky voice now. Bye-bye. Croak, croak. So this one has got, I've raised it up 5mm. It's got big chunky feet to glue, the back to glue, which is a bit lower, brings it to the same height as the wheel well. And I've just screwed it in. So now that will go in like that, and it sits there really solidly, really solid. So I'll epoxy that in. Then that will be the rudder servo fixed. The order of doing things, I've decided, I've painted inside here. I've decided to fix the rudder up with its pull systems before I spray the fuselage. Therefore I'll need to mask off the fin, I'll need to mask off the rudder before I can spray it. So on the strength of that, I'm going to glue in the hinges on the rudder and then glue into the back of the fin. Okay, first thing though is I'm going to glue the hinges in. To do that, I'll bend you down a minute, look. And all I do is to dunk it in there, turn it over, dunk it in there, like that. And the Vaseline being molten goes into all the actual hinge parts. I'll just wipe the surplus off. I've got one beautifully treated, let's put it on there, hinge. Okay, mix up some epoxy and glue those in, one stage at a time. You turn them once you push them in to make sure they're at 90 degrees to the pivot line. If they're at an angle, you can easily turn them back, but you can't tell just looking at it. But by moving it sideways, as long as it's 90 degrees, you know it's not going to be causing any funny angles. Right, we'll let that set, and then I'll put a bit of masking tape on, and then I'll do the same thing, gluing it into the back of the fin. Okay, here we go. Now the thing with this is it doesn't want to go all the way down because there has to be a gap. Right, I'm going to sit down because I can see the angles better then. Right guys, what you see before you is the cockpit, which I'm now going to glue on to the frame as it's now ready to glue on. So I've prepared it. I've tried to stick this down to the fuselage. There's a bit of bounce in it. I've stuck some sellotape all the way around to stop the glue from going onto the body, and sanded around the edge of the cockpit and cleaned on the inside. So that only leaves now to put some, I'm going to use canopy glue, Formula 560 canopy glue, sets in about 3 hours, hardens in 24, so it's going to be a fit and leave for the day. Not quite sure how I'm going to do it. It does dry clear, but then you don't want a big lump of clear glue. So if I do mess it up a little bit, there is a frame to paint around here, possibly anything up to like 3/8 or a centimetre all the way around.
although I think that's a bit chunky. I might go slightly less if I haven't messed it up too much. So I've sanded around the edge to give it a key, and what I thought I'd do is to apply it to the cockpit glazing, and then sort of holding it like this, put it on at the front and put some tape. I've got lots of bits of tape ready, just sort of tape it down there and then pull it over the back like that and tape it down all the way around. And hopefully it won't spring back. So that's my plan of action. Put it on like that. And this is another reason why I wanted to do this at this stage, because once it's painted I can't start getting glue and everything all around it. So I'll be back in a minute, just let me get the glue all around. Okay, I think that will do. Here we go. Here we go. Right, front first. Like that. I'll just drop it down there for a minute, hold it. Put that there. That stops it riding back. So far so good, guys. Down, down, down. Right, preparation is the key, isn't it? This is going okay. It does stick up slightly above the plywood at the back, but you're not particularly going to notice that. And so I've got to put the stripe around it, so that's all right. There is one little thing I haven't done yet, and that is the Lunak has a sliding rail at the back for the back half of the cockpit to slide onto. So I might just add that separately, some sort of little rail there. Should be quite nice. Okay, that's good. I'm well pleased with that. Another giant leap forward, guys. That really looks fantastic. The wings, I've got the aileron servos connected. I haven't glued them in yet. I just want to make sure that they're moving okay before I glue it in. And the wings are finished, apart from the stripes. And there is one other little thing I want to do, and that is I've ordered some 3mm by 1mm magnets, which I just want to put at least one under the air brake just to hold it snapped shut, because I don't want the air pressure, which is low on top of the wing, to lift that. It's really looking good now. When this is dry tomorrow, I'll take it off, or maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. When this is dry, I'll take it off and give the fuselage one final sand in, and then spray it if we get some good outdoor weather. And I'm also going to spray it with clear lacquer on top. Thanks for watching. See you soon.